Hello, everyone. RPG Kim Kid here, back with more Final Fantasy 16. In the previous video, a lot of shit went down. Oh, Origin. Let's read about that. A vast structure that lay dormant beneath the crystalline dominion for countless centuries. When Ultima's scheme reached its final stage, it was summoned from the depths, sowing untold destruction and leaving bleak black skies in its wake. It eerily resembles a mother crystal. How about I go talk to Tomes and see any of the other stuff that we missed? But yeah, I mean, yeah, right there, that kind of like told us some of the stuff that happened at the end of the previous video. We fought Ultima, and we fought Behemoth as well, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, honestly, it would not surprise me if the final hunting creature was a Behemoth.
Good morrow to you, my friend. I have compiled some new
I have a
entries,
lot of shit to tell
if
you
would
about
like to see them.
Hippocrates. Yeah.
What subject shall we consider today?
Me with Clive. Dominant of Bahamut, Warden of Light. Oh, look at... Oh, sweet. Look at that. He has like... Oh, that's awesome. His banner is now different to ours. Or to his too. Knowing all too keenly how Ultima's machinations are ushering the world to its doom after the events of Twinside, Dion pledges his allegiance to Clive and Joshua Rosfield, arriving on the Enterprise just in time to ride to the brothers' rescue in Stonyard. As Mythos. Dominant of the second Eikon fire, Ifrit. Unlike the other dominants, Clive has the curious power to absorb Eikons from their host and wield their strength as his own. Being known as Ultima appears to crave the same power, identifying Clive as Mythos, a vessel for power unlimited. However, Clive refuses to surrender himself to Ultima's will, making of this godlike being another enemy in the fight to build a world where people can live of their own terms. Still missing 2. I think that's all we were missing, right? We were just missing 2. Now it's just going to have to be updates for everyone, isn't it? A young woman with child who made her home in the Warluden village of Estella. After the arch sky spread across the land, her fellow villagers turned Akashic and departed for a retrieve, leaving her alone, afraid, and in hiding. By fortune, she was found by Clive and Gav, who took her back to the safety of the hideaway. It is speculated that the reason she survives is because the child growing inside her is a bear, and thus more able to resist the effects of aether. Which is quite interesting if you really think about it. Nothing here. Nothing here. Nothing here. Nothing here. The sole surviving nation in Ash shortly after the death of Barnabas, Thanir, Scion of Desmekaz, and Cat's Paw of Ultima, Drake's head was shattered, leaving the capital in Stonyard without Mothercrystal and King. Capital of the Kingdom of Walu, located at the coast of Ridge Claim, Ash's northernmost bay. Its Mothercrystal Drake's spine was eventually destroyed by Sid and his allies, but by this time the city had already been lost. Its leader perished atop a distant spire, its citizens reduced to mindless thralls, and its streets reclaimed by orcs and masterless beasts. In the year 878, the Warluden capital of Stonyard, already besieged by Akashic and Beastmen, was rocked at further by destruction of its Mothercrystal Drake's spine at the hands of Sid the Outlaw and his companions. A once independent state straddling the continent of Storm and Ash, Sambrakia's dominance here, and with it any semblance of order, was brought crashing down in the bloody coup led by Prince Dion the Sage. Not long afterwards, Twinside's luckless inhabitants were subjected to further misfortune when the fall of the realm's found Mothercrystal at Drake's spine caused an ancient construct of to rise from beneath their city, sowing death and destruction in its wake, and effectively decimating the already reduced populace. God damn. A place beyond space and time turned both a rift between worlds and our darkness by its creator, Ultima. Clive and Joshua were forcibly summoned here by the mad deity when they ventured too close to the heart of Drake's spine. Upon finding their way free, the pair emerged to find that their victory over Ultima has resulted in the shattering of the Mothercrystal. their true purposes. Enormous glassy mountains that once towered over the land of Valisthea, providing the crystal that the people of the twins relied upon in their everyday lives, while at the same time leeching aether from the earth. Clive and Joshua learned that they were planted here by Ultima for that very purpose, that the creature might accumulate enough aether to cast a supremely powerful spell, one that would remake the world. Also, now I think about, like, I'm going to assume, you know, that robed, hooded figure that Clive always saw every now and then at the earlier in the game. I'm going to assume that that was Ultima. I'm just going to assume. I don't know, unless we get something shown or talk about. The behemoths of Fafnirs of the realm, large dangerous beasts to whom all others bow. These creatures ruled for generations as the king of great forests or tall peaks, only to be driven from their homes by the blight and forced into unwelcome contact with humanity. They tend to have little tolerance for ethereal exposure, so it's common for them to turn akashic at the merest contact with an aether flood. Yeah. Ultima's thralls. Soulless automata largely composed of aether, whose only drive is to see that their creator's will is done. They appeared all over Valisthea after Ultima brought about Promulgatius, and the skies of the realm felt dark. Promulgenesis. Logos. Where Ultima uses mythos to describe the vessel he has long awaited, one into which he can pour his soul and cast his supreme spell. Logos indicates its blasphemed form, vessel over which the will of another has complete claim, making of itself a false god. In Ultima's eyes, mankind's greatest sin is the awakening of free will. His servants straying from the path their creator laid out for him and forging one of their own. However, Clive contends that this is a sin by which Ultima is equally sustained. And indeed, if humanity is indeed Ultima's creation, does not their every action, every motion stem from him? The paradise Ultima seeks to summon into creation, one free from the blight that almost ended his race. Though Barnabas believed that he and his fellow faithful would be allowed to join his deity there, he was mistaken. Only Ultima and his kin shall have a place in this new paradise. Paradise free not only of the blight, but from humanity. Hidden truths. The two icons of fire unite as one with a might that far exceeds either icon alone. With the body of Ifrit and the wings of the Phoenix, its appearance closely resembles that of Ultima, as depicted in the ancient murals of the Circles of Malice. Could this be the final true form of the vessel that Ultima requires to remake the world? Interdimensional Ultima. In order to further test the strength of the vessel Mythos, Ultima lured both Clive and Joshua deep into the shadowy depths of his fractured mind, where he faced the brothers clad in the remnants of his erstwhile flesh, the Infernal Eikon. Infernal Eikon. A form long since described by Ultima that brings to mind Ifrit, the Eikon manifest by Clive. It is seemingly incomplete, lacking as it does the wings of the being created when Clive and Joshua combine the powers of Ifrit and Phoenix. And probably Behemoth, right? Yep. Hey, we got them all. We got all the bestiary. Towering agents of destruction known for their distinctive dual horns and a roar that can topple the mighty heavens. Simply the mention of one has been known to install fear in the hearts of even the most seasoned of warriors, and as such few ever venture to hunt these beasts of legend, leaving them to roam the blackened hills of Ash undisturbed. That is, save the scant few the royal armies that somehow remarkably managed to fetter and tame for deployment on the front lines of battle. And we're almost done with everything else. I'm actually quite curious if, like, the bar below them, I think that's for, like, all information, not just like, oh, you've filled out every space, but there's also more information that needs to be filled out too. So if that's the case, then that means we've filled out the entirety of the bestiary, and there'll be nothing new. So, all right, Otto, let's go tell them what the fuck went down. Scrubber of stains. I'll probably get a shit ton of side quests.
Something tells me that eyesore on the horizon is your doing. How'd you manage that?
It's a long story. One that I'd rather only tell once.
Right. All hands on deck then.
Is this everyone?
All right. Time to tell you what the fuck went on.
As I'm sure you've all guessed, the crystal which now commands the eastern skies was summoned by Ultima. He called
I
it
like how mid-sitting.
Origin. Though the significance of that name is as yet unclear.
What does it matter what it's called? Its emergence tore Twinside asunder and wiped my homeland from the map.
Mention of the Dominion spires can be found in the oldest of Valisthean records. But to the best of my knowledge, none provide any hint as to their true nature. That they would prove the horns of some slumbering demon. Well,
the Dominion's demise was at least quick. Elsewhere, the Republican army cannot hope to contain the chaos engulfing Randalar. Canva is in flames, and the Empire.
Our allies are crying out for answers. I've sent the Cursebreakers to give them what assurances we can, but right now that amounts to fuck all.
Fuck all.
They wouldn't be able to stop what the skies have started in any case. People here and across the realm grow sicker with every passing day.
Could it be that this new Mother Crystal is like the others? That it draws upon the land's ether? It certainly looked that way from stone here.
If that were true, it would explain the hastening spread of the Blight since the crystal's appearance. Would it not?
And as the land's ether slowly rises to the surface, it pools, corrupting all who cannot channel its energies. Archay above, ether floods below, and in the middle, here we languish, hopelessly entrapped.
It's all right. When we faced him at Stone here, Ultima told us his true power quickens in the halls of Origin. Needless to say, we cannot allow that to continue. If we are to stop him, we will have to find a way into the crystal.
How are we gonna manage that then? It's up in the sky. And fast as she is, the Enterprise can't fly.
Yet, anyway.
It's a lot to take in, and I reckon we'd all benefit from some time to clear our heads. The answer will come to us. Don't you worry. Ain't that right, Clive?
Right. That's right.
Well, go on then. Bugger off. Same goes for you, Clive. You won't solve anything like this. Trust me. Go and get some fresh air, eh?
Thank you. Joshua seemed upset.
Hey, Josh. It's awesome that we can actually see it in the distance there. I was curious. I was like, but now they showed us, so.
Ultima may have created us, but he doesn't make us who we are. Only we can do that. And if he would have us fight for our survival, so be it. It's what we've been doing all along.
Much like Ultima himself, it would seem. His new world being naught but a means to survive. And so, we must contend to decide which of us shall inherit the land. Should Ultima prevail, it will mean death for us all. Of that, we can be certain. But even should he fail, what world awaits us? A withered, godless place, where our newfound freedom will most like prove a chain in itself.
Well, that may be. But a chain can always be broken. As long as one has the will to break it. It won't be easy. It may take generations. Centuries of suffering. And that is, if everyone plays their part. But it will happen. And when it does, it will be on our terms. That is the world that awaits us.
Indeed. And what better world could one wish for?
It'll be our terms.
But first, we have to reach that crystal.
Then it's a good thing I have wings.
You can barely stand, let alone fly. And only the Founder knows what horrors await in those skies. Are you certain about this?
Am I certain? I am the Phoenix.
I am the
I
Phoenix.
will do what I must. This is our fight. Remember?
All right. I yield. But only what you must, yes? I'm still your sworn shield.
That you are.
And what of my wings? Lest you forget, you go to stand against a god. I would not have you succumb to fatigue before the fight begins. Ifrit, your brother mentioned that some few of the dominants who had lost their power to you were still able to prime. Is that true?
It is. But their Eikons no longer submitted to their will.
Then mine will have to be stronger. That you both
I like
save your
Dion.
strength for the battle to come.
You don't have
Yes,
to do
right on the back of
If you
Bahamut.
do, there's a chance you might lose all you have left.
And what have I but regret? My life ended in the Dominion. I fear death no more. Besides, I would have words with Ultima. He has much to answer for.
We are in your debt, Dion.
We can speak of debts when this is over.
We can speak of debts when this is over.
He speaks like a man who knows he's not coming back. And has come to terms with that.
That doesn't mean that we have to. Does it, Clive?
Time to talk to Jill. I only hope she understands.
Tell her that I'm leaving. But you can't come with me. You have to stay here. You must follow if I don't return. Or you must finish what I've started if I don't return. Hey, baby.
Come to wish on a star.
That might not be such a bad idea. This is it, Jill. You know what I have to do. Why I have to do it. There's no turning back now. This is where our journey was leading us. Where it will end, for better or worse.
I could pray to Metia for you. But you'll be all right, won't you, Clive? You always are.
I did promise we'd watch the moon together.
I'll be waiting.
Aw, that was cute.
It's almost time. Better make sure I haven't forgotten anything.
Like all these fucking quests. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then how many are there? Alright, let's start. In a mood. In case you haven't noticed, your poor hound spends all his time of late on the rear deck whimpering like Gav in his cups. Something ain't right, and my gut tells me it's ought to do with the supply of antelope bones. More than words.
What is it this time, Torgal?
In search of a lost home. Reluctant as I am to add to your burdens, I would ask your aid in personal matters, albeit one that may be beneficial to your cause. There exists ancient texts deemed so injurious to modern thought that mere possession is deemed a crime, and there was a chance encounter with one such tome from a distance that sparked with me the scholastic curiosity which burns to this very day. I wish to enlist your aid in reclaiming that text. Should you require further insight, know that I am willing to offer compensation for services rendered.
Something tells me this is no mere adventure story.
Alright, that's those two. Wait, hold on. Okay, I just wanted to be like, where's Torgal at? Uncle? Ask about origins. You're set on this plan of yours then. I am. This is weird. You never will want to shy away from a fight. Some might say it runs in the family. Ha! Your father would be proud.
Thank you, Uncle.
I know he'll be with us up there.
As for down here...
You may take comfort in the knowledge that the realm will be in my capable hands until you return. Indeed.
Clive, my boy! Rutherford informs me that we owe you our thanks. Hadn't intended for you to get involved. But such are the times we live in, huh?
I would have done the same for anyone
This
else.
wouldn't have happened if
You're
I didn't do
far too
Rutherford's
modest, Clive.
quest.
You'd make a terrible nobleman. But tell me, is the realm truly in as dire a state as Rutherford suggests?
From what little I saw, you were right to be worried.
I suppose I should have expected the worst. But I was rather hoping the great and good of the realm might have things a little more under control. Alas, it seems that firm leadership is in short supply these days, and without it, the people are bound to lose their way. We must move quickly.
But where do we start?
True, the challenges that face us are many, but in my estimation, there are two key areas to be addressed before any other. The realm's armies and her larders. As you've seen firsthand, it's every man and woman for themselves out there. Certain cities have banded together to try and maintain some semblance of order, yes, but such cases are few and far between. And yet, the only remedy for the chaos that faces us is unity. A unity that transcends even the borders laid down by our ancestors. In short, if Storm does not stand together, she will fall apart.
But how would one even begin to unite the realm?
The armies, my boy. As
The
I told
armies.
you already, we begin by restoring order among the ranks of those sworn to maintain it. Sadly, I doubt I could convince even the lowliest gaggle of privates to dig a latrine together. But I do know someone the High Commanders have been known to listen to on occasion. Field Marshal Eugen Havel.
Eikon.
I thought he was retired.
He was, until an Akashic army tore through Randalar and killed most
Randalar.
of the rank and file. There is no man alive more capable. Literally. And as luck would have it, I've already spoken with him on the matter.
Of course you have.
And he's agreed to help. On one condition. That he first speaks with you personally. Havel has always been a man of frustratingly rigid principle, and he has certain qualms about clasping arms with, well, with an outlaw. I extolled your many virtues as best I could, of course, but the old goat was adamant that he be allowed to appraise you in person. You don't mind, do you, my boy?
If that is your wish.
Of course not. As long as chaos reigns, we will never build a better world. I'll do whatever it takes. And if the Field Marshal wishes to speak with me in person, then so be it.
That's the spirit.
I'll leave for Randalar at once. Would you send a Stolas?
Of course. Rutherford is already in the Dalmekian capital. I'll have him tell Havel to expect you forthwith.
Excellent. Thank you, Uncle.
No, thank you, Clive.
I'll tell him to expect you after you pick up a lot of other side quests. I feel like I definitely want to prioritize these first two, though, for sure. So how many more do I have to pick up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus. Okay. Let's see what's up with our dog. Then, well, I might as well go over there and pick up all these quests over here. What's wrong, Torgal?
Pining for something, boy. What is it? What do you see out there? I never did ask where you got that anklet of yours.
From Sid, that's why. On the day he brought him home.
That long ago?
And you're only thinking to ask this now? Sid saw that the pup had a habit of gnawing on his leg, since you ask.
Oh.
But they're eyeing on him to keep him from doing it.
What was wrong, boy?
I'll take like as not. Must have been hard on the poor whelp losing his loving masters at such a young age. Doubly hard in being a frost wolf, torn away from his Eikons and all. Sid would always tell him, you want that iron gone, you find what it is you're looking for. I reckon what he were looking for was you.
I'm sorry, Torgal. Sorry for making you wait so long. Let's get that thing off you.
Doesn't sound like he wants it off.
Indeed. You miss Sid as much as the rest of us, don't you? You want me to go with you somewhere?
Quick, aren't you? Glad you've been paying attention.
Not nearly as much as you have, Lady Karen.
Aye, good thing and all. It's not like Gav would have kept him in nuts and rubbed his belly these past 10 summers.
Your kindness is appreciated. You've been a good friend to him.
Only because he doesn't talk back like the rest of you. Come on now.
Where to then, Torgal?
Alright, I'll follow you, Torgal.
All right, Torgal. Where are you taking me? I'm going to need a little bit more than that, boy. Do you have a better hint for me? Unless you've already given me one. Back on the rear deck, you were looking west, toward Rosaria. Why don't we try the rookery? I haven't been to the island in almost 20 years.
Ooh, okay.
To Port Isolde, then.
To Port Isolde.
Fingers crossed the old mooring is still there.
Ah, Clive. This is it then, brother.
Our last dance with Ultima awaits. Only the Founder knows what awaits us up there.
Indeed.
But whatever we find, we shall overcome it. We're not to do to disappoint our friends. They all believe in you, Clive. They would follow you to the ends of the earth if they could.
You're wrong.
My friends don't follow me. They spur me on. I couldn't have made this far without them. Nor without you, Joshua. Give me your blessing, and give me your shield. Without you, I don't know how I would have even survived. Even when we are apart, you're always with me. I trust you'll be with me now until the end.
Of course.
Whatever that might be. Where there's a will!
Joshua, what's wrong? And don't say nothing.
It's... not nothing. I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will. Or something akin to it.
His will? How? Where?
In the crypt beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the Duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so, they found a letter from Father.
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go, but... would you join me?
Of course.
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well. I am ready to leave when you are.
I'm just picking up all the quests, and I will, you know, I don't know how I'll prioritize. Doris?
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When aether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now. And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
Can we go together?
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together. And we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris.
All right. So there's that one.
Sid, I was wondering if you could help me.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Curse Breakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability. I was hoping you could oversee this one's evaluation.
I don't mind, but why this one?
Because he wants to be a scout. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is why we still rely so heavily on Gav. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those who'd fill his boots.
Sounds reasonable.
So you're happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many scouts.
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the
True
initiate
words.
know that you'll be attending his trial, and that he is to proceed directly to Northreach in readiness.
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
Trial and error.
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer. Vivian, I read your note, and I'd be happy to help you find the book you're looking for.
Thank you, Clive. But tracking it down will not be easy. Are you sure?
Please. You have always granted me your wisdom and insight whenever I asked. It's only right that I return the favor. Or at least attempt to.
You are too kind. Alas, what I ask of you is rather more trying than delivering the odd lecture. I spoke with Harpocrates to see if he had any inkling as to where another copy might be found, but perhaps it is best that you hear the details from him.
If you say so.
Forgive me, Clive, for asking this of you. But this book, it set me on the path to becoming who I am today. Its importance cannot be overstated. Clive. Harpocrates knows of the tome I seek. Whether what he has to say makes you happy to have agreed to help me is another matter.
Okay.
Well, Clive?
Are you resolved to brave the coming battle, no matter the cost?
I am.
For only with Ultimate's death might we ever find true freedom. And when we do, I'll be counting on you to help teach this world the truth.
Naturally.
But I'll need you to do something for me in return. Come back to us in one piece. For how am I to recount the true history of this world without a first-hand account from the heroics of those who fought to change it? We shall all be praying for your safe return. I actually really like Vivian Ninetails. The final battle.
In the world.
Fight as one, fight as one, fight as one, fight as one. Ah! I kind of was hoping that'd stay as in love, because it really should.
Thus ends today's lesson.
Alright, how many more how many side quests are
Clive.
having to be done everywhere else? Under new management, okay. Lies in the sand. Okay, so that's a continuation, so I'm okay with that. Duty undying. Okay. So we just have 3 outside. Okay. Not a lot, but I mean, I still have a shit ton here, so...
What do you think happened?
Sid, you have to help us.
With what? You didn't take apart another of Mid's contraptions, did you?
No. Well, yes, but that's not what we want to talk to you about.
It's Miss Mididol. She's been acting strange. Very strange. She's barely ever around.
When she is, she acts like we aren't even there. Her head's in a crowd.
In the clouds.
That's what I said. In the clouds.
Well, she does have a lot on her mind. When did you last see her?
Not long ago. Right after she got back from saving you from Stoneir.
Then it's probably just about the Enterprise. It did take quite a battering on the way there and back.
You didn't break it, did you, Sid? You really should be more careful around Miss Mididol's inventions. Oh, don't listen to her. Even if you did break the Enterprise, you could put it back together, couldn't you?
But who's gonna put Miss Mididol back together? She seems really sad.
I'm worried about me myself.
Why don't I go and see if I can cheer her up?
You do that? For us? She's in her dungeon.
Don't scare him. It's not a real dungeon.
Thanks for the warning.
Okay, I was about to say, I hope they, like, have, like, if I pick up some quests from here that they're not marked, I'm hoping that, like, they're marked on the map or something. They are, so let's do some more of this stuff.
Mid, if you have a...
That's it! I knew it! The answer was right here under my arse all along! If this doesn't steer to the skies, nothing will!
To the skies? You aren't trying to give the Enterprise wings, are you?
What else would I be doing?
The children seem to think you're avoiding them. They're worried about you. Is this really so important that you need to shut yourself away from everyone?
The Enterprise is already the fastest ship in the realm, and that's with the sea beneath her. But what if she weren't bound to the waves? What if she weren't bound to anything at all? It's not fair. The gods get the skies all to themselves, so I'm gonna do something about it. The Fallen had their chance, but they relied too much on magic. And see where that got them? But not me. I've discovered how to do it without. Well, almost. First, I need to make a prototype.
And is that a one-woman job?
Are you volunteering? I'll have you know the Enterprise is my baby. But if her godfather's offering to lend a hand, I'd be happy to take it. First, I'll need oil, and not just some old drippings from Miss Molly's spits in the Tub and Crown. Refined stuff, like they make in Ordil. Then I'll need some bone, or shell. Light, strong, preferably no longer attached to the beast it belongs to.
If it's beast bones you're after, I'm sure the Cursebreakers will know where you might find some.
No, they'll know where you might find some. You're the one who offered to help, remember?
I should speak with one of the Cursebreakers before I set off for Old Hill. See if I can't find this bone while I'm there as well.
Alright, they're over there, so let me go grab this quest first, and then I'll go over there. Is this Arthur?
Let them be forgotten.
Nope, someone else.
Sid, may I have a moment?
I was wondering if this was the guy who, like, helped out with
It is an
Blackthorn.
honor to finally speak with you. My name is Herman. I've been with the Cursebreakers for some time now, and I wish to be deployed to Ash. Any assignment will do.
No. The lands across the Narrow are too dangerous. I will not send good men and women to risk their lives needlessly. Why would you want to go back?
I need to retrieve something. Something important. I was raised in an orphanage. The Badbach Conservatory. Or rather, I was held captive there. It was not a place of nurture. It existed solely to turn bearer children into mindless weapons. We were tortured until we feared no pain. Tormented until our hearts turned to stone. And few ever survived long enough to become tools of the last king.
I can't imagine.
I lost so many. I can't even remember all their names. But they must be remembered. They cannot fade away, faceless and forgotten. The Institute was run with military precision. Every child measured, every name recorded, every death logged with meticulous care. Cid, allow me to travel to Ash and recover the registry so that my brothers and sisters might live on.
No, I'll go instead.
You were a good friend, Herman. But the fact remains that Ash is simply too dangerous.
Cid, please. Even should it cost me my life.
Too dangerous for you, Herman. But not for me. I'll go to Badbach and find the registry.
You will?
I won't let you risk your life.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can start by telling me where I'll find this orphanage.
Vida Grace. Hidden in a forest, overlooking the plains.
All right. I'll see what I can find there.
May the mothers guide you.
Mostly of heirs. Okay. Let's go.
So there's a new mother. Fussing over it.
I need to go down there and talk to... Actually, is there any more? There's no hunts? Really? What the hell? Is this going to be one of those things probably where... I'm actually So, okay. I'm actually curious, like, if this is one of those things where I probably can't teleport anywhere until after.
All right, Cid. Come to buy us around, have you?
Only if you earn it. Mid needs a piece of light but durable bone for her next project. You've encountered your share of beasts on your travels across the realm. Any ideas?
Most bones are the same. Whack 'em hard enough and they'll break. If it's durability you're looking for, shell will serve you better. You know what an adamantus is?
I do. And I know to give them a wide berth. Will any old adamantus do?
Well, with shells, the older the harder. There's a rumor of an ancient
Oh, this is
adamantus
probably...
down in
Oh,
Carver.
some of these quests might unlock a
What's left of the
monster.
village anyway. But don't expect to make quick work of the bastard. There's a reason it's lived as long as it has.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
I was actually expecting, like, some of these to unlock some of the monsters that I've left. How many of them? I think I have 5? Yeah, I think I have 5, so I was expecting that to happen. So this will probably most likely end up being, like, at least 2 parts of side content. And then another part of... At least one more part of,
Clive,
doing
my boy.
the story bit.
What a pleasure it is to see you.
Hippocrates. There's something I need to ask you. I've been charged with locating a book called From a Distance.
Then you seek a rare gem indeed. One whose name I had not thought to hear from your lips. You've been talking to Vivian.
Right as always. But she didn't seem keen to tell me very much.
I take it she didn't like what you had to say.
And yet I gather it did naught to dissuade her. Clive, if the young professor has tasked you with obtaining a copy, I fear she asks the impossible. The executors would not allow it.
The executors?
Coveters of secrets. A clandestine organization committed to the collection and intenebration of forbidden texts and technologies. One such text being the tome Vivian seeks, chronicling as it does the true history of the enslavement of bearers. A tale which could overturn the established order were it ever to become widely known. Or, so rumor has it. I've never actually read the thing, or even set eyes on it for that matter.
How is it that I haven't heard of this organization?
Why, secrecy is the Executor's watchword. They lurk in the shadows.
Much like the Undying, it seems.
Emerging only to seize that which must be seized, be it books, inventions, or people, before disappearing again, leaving nary a trace.
Which would explain why Vivian's copy was snatched from her grasp not long after she found it.
By the hand of the Executors, yes.
But what drives them? Self-interest or ideology?
How do you know so much about them?
Fine question. Sadly, all that is known of the Executors can be recounted in a single breath. You may just as soon ask me of their origins, numbers, or the identities of their leaders. Any answer I give would be pure speculation.
Then my hunt was doomed from the first. What was Vivian expecting? That I'd pluck it from thin air?
Not from thin air, no. From ash. Rumors of the Executors are rife among the scholars of Storm, but rather less so across the Strait. I have a friend. Well, I had a friend in the village of Garnick, a collector of rare tomes, upon which subject we would oft correspond. Alas, I have heard naught from him since the skies fell dark. And no doubt he too has turned. But
bummer.
Though he did not mention it by name, it is possible that a surviving copy of From a Distance yet rests upon one of his many shelves, quietly awaiting discovery. If you were, by some chance, able to save even a single book from the poor man's library, I know his soul would rest easier.
Very well. When I next find myself in Waloed, I'll be sure to pay Garnick a visit.
Okay. All right, let's go take care of all the ones I have to do first. So oh, it's telling me all nearby quests that are completed too. Aiming high, okay. Well, let's take care of the ones I currently have marked. I thought there was a quest available up here too.
It's still here. After all these years. A lot smaller than I remember. And you were a lot bigger. You might have to swim, boy.
I'm kidding.
I wasn't being serious.
You two go on without me. I doubt that boat will hold a third.
If you're sure, we won't be long. Hop in, boy. place hasn't changed at all. The rookery's right through those trees. Come on.
Oh ho ho! In a different part of the place.
Race you there? I bet I could still beat you.
Aw, look at that.
Here we are. This was our hideaway. Wasn't it, Torgal?
Oh, look at how
Killing you
cute the
helped me to
baby
forget
Torgal
who I
was.
Or wasn't. Prince, shield. Son his mother could love. Had I been any one of those things? Perhaps. What is it, boy? This is all from the castle. And Phoenix Gate. Did
You brought them here?
you bring these here? My sparring sword. Well. You never stopped looking for me, did you, boy?
Aww. Aww.
Thank you, Torgal. For never giving up. For never forgetting.
What a loyal hound.
Let's take this with us, shall we? So I don't forget either.
Aw. Not done yet, it seems.
That's not the way back to the boat, Torgal. All right. I'm coming. I think I know where we're going.
Wow. Wow, that's a view.
People always talk about the importance of putting the past behind you. But without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. And we certainly couldn't steer our way to a better tomorrow. Come on, Torgal. Let's go home.
Woof. Quest complete. That was good. Charged sparring sword. Clive's old sparring sword, salvaged by a faithful friend in the aftermath of the Iron Blood invasion 18 winters past. Remember, Clive, your blade is not your only weapon. Rodney Murdoch. Cavil Fane. Increases Torgal's attack potency.
Sorry for the wait. We're ready.
Alright, let's go here. So what exactly am I looking for in this one?
It's oil. After what happened here, it's a miracle there was any left at all. This should be enough.
I swear I thought there was a quest here, wasn't there? Oh, I guess not. Alright.
It can't be Rutherford, can it?
Alrighty.
Turncoats and cowards, the lot of you! If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you shall have!
Allow me.
I don't need your...
Please, Field Marshal. Oblige him.
This won't take long.
You're right. It won't. Men,
You're right.
finish him.
It won't. Titan! Bull! Oh, that was fun.
A little longer than I'd have liked. Field Marshal Havel, I presume. Are either of you injured?
No, my lord. You arrived just as our escort turned on us.
Fucking traitors. I'd heard reports of soldiers in the outlying regions abandoning the oaths they swore. But I hadn't thought the corruption had reached so close to the heart of the Republic. It's a fucking disgrace. Your interfering old bastard of an uncle tried to warn me, of course. My lord Marquis. Or is Sid the Outlaw more to your liking?
Call me what you want. It doesn't change who I am, or the urgency of the message I bring. My uncle has a plan to right the realm, and he needs your help to see it through.
Before I agree to anything, I'd have you answer one question. What do you stand to gain from all this?
I won't deny that I might benefit from further chaos. But I seek a new beginning for all of us. And while the choices I've made may not always have been the right ones, I know I made them for the right reasons. For so long, so many of us have been told how we could live, how we could die, when it should have been our decision all along. Now, we have a chance to put things right. But in order to take it, we must stand together. Even if it be beside those with whom we don't see eye to eye.
Certainly not the words I expected from an outlaw. But perhaps your uncle was right. You are no ordinary outlaw. I'll never hear the end of this. All right. I'll start by ordering my most trusted guard to bring the Dhalmekian fringes under control. Next, I'll make contact with my counterparts in the Imperial Army and see if I can't convince them to try and restore order in their own territory.
Sounds like a plan to me.
But they are not the only ones we will need to convince.
What do you mean?
I don't doubt that I can bully some sense into a few generals. But those they answer to require a different kind of persuasion. And when it comes to honeyed words, well, we will need an envoy. One who can court even the most stubborn of statesmen. You, perhaps.
I'm flattered. But I'm no diplomat either. And I have other problems to attend to. What we need is a skilled arbitrator. And I may know just the person.
Is that so? And would he happen to be an outlaw too?
Of a different kind, perhaps.
Well, beggars can't be choosers. I suppose we'll all have to find a little of the outlaw in ourselves if we're to make it through this. Very well. Send your man to me right away.
I shall.
It's your uncle, isn't it?
My Lord Marquis. Your Lord Uncle bade me escort the Field Marshal to his manor in Port Isolde.
And I will see that my associate joins you there.
Very good, my lord.
Well, maybe it's not him then.
Huh. An envoy. I'm not sure I'm the man to talk anyone round. I can barely convince my brother to take his medicine. No. This is a job for someone with experience. Someone like Quentin. I hope I can convince him at least.
Oh, ho, ho. That is interesting. Okay. Yeah, Quentin for sure would have that. All right, over here. All right, let's read about the will.
Your Grace, my lord, I trust your journey was not overly onerous.
Cyril,
you found a letter from Father? Yes, I have it here. If you would do us the honor, my lord.
My beloved sons, I know that I ask much of you in this coming war, but I see no other way to secure the future of our duchy and our family. Yet even should we succeed in subduing the savages and win back Drake's breath, the threat of the Blight still looms. And only with all Rosaria striving as one might we at last overcome. I have made plans to see us through, but such are the obstacles that stand in our way. It shall likely fall to you to continue my work. I know that you have the strength, the courage, and the will to do so. This shall be an arduous inheritance, and so I offer you another, that you might be reminded of the love and faith that I had for both of you, your father.
An inheritance?
It would seem the late Archduke penned this missive shortly before his passing.
Oh, that's what he was writing the night before.
What are these plans he spoke of? His plans for the duchy, your grace. Your father entrusted them to my predecessor.
the former bearer of the Burning Quill, who entrusted them in turn to me. The complete emancipation of bearers is their stated aim. But your father's dream did not end there. His Grace also spoke of building hospices to care for those stricken by the curse, and the founding of a new university to further the development of non-magical technologies. With the blight spreading ever more widely across the Twins, Archduke Elwyn saw this as the only means of securing Rosaria's survival.
He wished to see men and bearers treated as equals. To see centuries of common wisdom overturned. Small wonder he did not think it achievable within his lifetime.
But he thought it achievable nonetheless. Had he not, he would never have written this message. Nor would he have entrusted his vision to his most faithful aides, those who would have stood with you, shielded you from the machinations of the less benevolent personages at court.
It's a pity only they are still with us.
Right.
'Tis true that those most loyal to your father were the first to suffer the Duchess's wrath.
Fuck that
One
bitch.
at least remains, and she has come bearing gifts.
What do you mean?
Mayhap it is better that she explain, my lord. After all, the duties entrusted to me by my predecessor extended only to recovering His Grace's will and arranging a meeting with the one who might execute it, or a part of it at least.
And where is this woman?
She awaits you in the archive, Your Grace.
Thank you, Cyril. Shall we then?
She awaits you in the archive. Yes, but you have another quest for me. What is it?
Lord Marquis, if you have a moment.
What is it, Cyril?
One of our brethren lately journeyed across the strait in order to pursue a new avenue of inquiry in our ongoing investigation. He sent an owl some while ago, but we have heard naught from him since.
Was he surveying another fallen ruin?
No. The object of his study was a savior cult that has arisen in Ash in recent years. We believe it may have some connection to the Circle of Malleus, an ancient religion that worshipped Ultima as its god. By gaining an understanding of this new faith, we hoped to learn more of the Circle's original beliefs.
And so you sent one of your brothers to Ash? A continent teeming with orcs and Akashic?
Fully cognizant of the risks, yes. I entrusted the mission to one of the most able of our order, the Third Chair, a master of the arts of combat and survival both. Though he has been silent for some days now, I have thus far refrained from sending any others in search of him, lest they be lost in turn. Yet, it seemed only right to inform you of the situation, given your unique experience of the perils of Ash. For as you so earnestly advised me, it would not do to abandon a man to his fate, when he might yet be saved.
Alrighty.
It would not. But Ash is a big place. Can you be any more specific?
Perhaps. The last owl I received from him mentioned a village where he had heard the cult were wont to assemble. Mickleburg was its name. It lies in the southern reaches of Waloed. If aught ill befell him, I expect it did so there.
Right. I'll see what I can do.
You are much too kind, my lord. Go then, with my hopes, and may the Firebird's flame ever burn in your heart.
Mickleburg. Oh.
If this new faith really is an offshoot of the Circle of Malleus, then...
Let's concentrate on finding the third chair first, shall we?
It doesn't seem to be a part of this, so... Oh, I forgot to open up that chest that well. Hello.
My lord, your grace. I hardly recognize you. I am Goditha, retainer of House Rosfield, loyal servant to the Phoenix and his shields. Your father, the Archduke Elwyn, entrusted me with the delivery of a gift. I only hope you can forgive my tardiness in bringing it to you.
Lift up your head, Lady Goditha. You have our gratitude for your service to our house and to our father.
I merely did my duty, as any proud Rosarian would.
My lady, perhaps you could explain a little more? What exactly is the gift you bring?
As I'm sure you know, it has long been the custom for the children of House Rosfield to be presented with certain keepsakes upon their coming of age.
Indeed it has. Our father often spoke of the day when our turn would come.
And had he lived to see it, he would have presented you with the treasures I bear. Matching armbands for you both. Alas, he did not live. Indeed, he was taken from us even before they could be completed. He had intended to claim the Heartstone with which each armband was to be finished himself, but it was not to be. And his gifts remain incomplete.
I see.
It saddens me to bring them before you, as they are. It was your father's wish that you be presented with the finished articles, not these works in progress. But with his grace long since gone, and the stone left unclaimed, I had little choice. You are grown men now, and his house is yours. And while I would not presume to insist upon your claiming the Heartstone in his stead, I know that nothing would have pleased him more than for you to do so.
Thank you, Lady Goditha.
What say you, Clive?
What
yes,
else?
What else?
Of course, my lady. May our father's will be done.
Oh, I am much obliged.
Do you know where we might find this Heartstone, my lady?
I do. Though it may be a matter of a good deal more than simply happening upon it. It is found in the bellies of elder griffins, you see. We do at least know where to find one. A certain specimen has made its nest in Titan's Wake, not far from here.
Oh, okay.
A certain specimen?
You are most perceptive, Your Grace. In answer to your unspoken question, yes. In fact, this is the very same beast your father meant to slay. I have been tracking its movements since you were but a boy. Were you to slay it in his stead, as men of House Rosfield, it would surely make your
I mean, this sounds like a unique
What
beast.
say you, Joshua?
For a hunt.
What else?
But it probably isn't.
Titan's Wake. It's to the south of here. But we must not be hasty. The good lady has been disappointed once already.
Alrighty, let's go take care of these quests.
Faster!
Eyes peeled, Joshua.
Oh, hey, there he is.
There it is.
For House Rosfield.
Ow.
Too slow.
Whoa! Heartstone. Griffins suffer something akin to the crystal's curse. Their flesh slowly turned to stone over a lifetime of channeling aether. Unlike bears, however, the effect is far more gradual and limited to a sac around their heart. The slower progress of petrification results in the formation of a gemstone of rare beauty.
Is this the Heartstone?
I expect Lady Goditha will know.
Probably right there.
Thanks, Gal. Looks like we found him.
Boom. It is believed an Amantois will grow a thin new layer to its protective shell once every 2 moons. Considering that many of the creatures live for hundreds of years, it should come to no surprise that the shells of older specimens can be several hands thick and weigh over 50
I better
stones.
get these materials to Mid so she can finish her prototype.
Alright, that's taken care of. Let's go back here. Hand this in. Hello.
Oh, thank the Founder you were safe. The Griffin is slain then?
And the Heartstone claimed.
2 of them.
Yes. This radiant luster, like frozen flame, is just as your father described it. Thank you, my lord. Your grace. Your father would be so proud.
Lady Goditha, the lapidary is ready.
Thank you, Cyril. I will be with him shortly. If you would excuse me, I shall have the stone cut and set forthwith. The armbands are complete. Pray, take them. They are yours, after all. Heartstone is harder and more enduring than garnet, or even ruby. It symbolizes unwavering will and devotion. And the graven vines encircling the stone represent the unbreakable bonds between you.
It's a message. Father knew we had enemies both inside and outside the duchy. Enemies who would thwart his vision. Only with unwavering devotion would it ever be realized.
And only if we stood together, as Phoenix and Shield, as brothers in arms, only then might those enemies be overcome.
Indeed. His Grace knew the enormity of the task he would entrust to you, his heirs. But this was more than just a message. It was a promise. That he would always be with you.
Aww.
Thank you, Lady Goditha, for remaining the steadfast custodian of our father's will.
Forgive me, my lady, but there is something I don't quite understand. The Undying told me that after Father died, Mother claimed all of the ducal treasures for her own. Even if the armbands were incomplete, she would surely not have overlooked them. So, how were you able to keep them from her?
Because I was the keeper of the vault. Though I was but a lowly servant, your father spoke to me of his intentions for the bands, of the deep love he had for both of you, and his hopes for your future.
Man.
In
The more we learn about her, Annabelle was a giant, massive
I discovered
cunt.
that the Duchess had ordered her jewelry be sent away from the castle. It was then that I knew she meant to betray us. I tried to warn your father, but it was too late. When word of the fire reached Rosalith, I knew my time was short. So I took up the armbands and I fled into the night.
And thank the Founder you did.
Yet my duty to your father was incomplete. Not knowing what else to do, I followed the Griffin, thinking I might claim the Heartstone on its passing. And so my pursuit continued, until Lord Cyril appeared before me. He informed me that His Grace's will had been recovered, and that his sons were alive and well.
Lady Goditha, on behalf of my father and all the people of Rosaria, I thank you for your loyal service.
As do I.
Thank you, my lord. Your Grace, for coming back to us. For giving my service meaning.
The bands suit you well. It must be gratifying to finally receive the inheritance that was denied you for so long.
It is. And we thank you for the part you played, Cyril.
If you would permit me to play my part a little longer, might I suggest that you make your way to your father's memorial atop Hall's High Cliff.
Memorial, okay.
Let him see that you have received his blessing, and that his vision lives on in you.
I suppose it would be churlish not to. What do you say, Clive? Should we pay Father a visit?
I think we should. I was hoping to be able to offer him my thanks before we left for Origin.
Your father's helm is enshrined there. It has been since the day we recovered it from Phoenix Gate.
Good job.
Claim it. For it too is a part of your inheritance. And I do not doubt that your father would prefer it in your hands than perched upon some lonely rock.
Thank you, Cyril. Come on,
Let's
Clive.
go.
He's waiting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's not here, though, which makes sense.